Welcome to a presentation from the Nevada Department of Education. Thank you for joining us. With the onset of the coronavirus, teaching and learning in the traditional classroom has come to a halt. Today, schools across the nation and throughout the world have transitioned to remote learning. The Nevada Digital Learning Collaborative is glad to bring you the COVID-19 series of webinars, which will share valuable insights and tips for teaching and learning from afar. We are excited that you've decided to join us today. The Nevada Department of Education is committed to making the transition to remote learning as seamless as possible so that there are minimal breaks in your students' learning path. The Department of Education places Nevada students at the center of every decision they make. They are truly committed to seeing that all students succeed. Today's topic is 10 tips for teachers during remote learning, featuring Kim Loomis. Welcome. I'm Kim Loomis. I have worked in the field of digital learning since 1999. I spent 10 years in the classroom as a high school mathematics teacher. Later, I held positions in school leadership and central office administration. I retired last summer as the director of online and blended learning in Nevada's Clark County School District, where I provided leadership in the growth of digital learning in the K-12 setting. I have over 20 years in the online and blended school setting, from teaching, designing digital content, professional development, and virtual school administration, to managing systems and processes for growing classrooms of the future. Today, on behalf of the Nevada Department of Education, I will be presenting 10 tips for teachers during remote learning. Our agenda for this webinar: we will begin looking briefly at remote learning. Then we'll move into 10 tips designed especially for teachers as they look to deploy a successful remote learning and teaching environment. Our goal is to share insights on how to keep students engaged from afar. So let's begin. As the former online and blended learning director, you know I'm a huge fan of digital learning. But I never expected a world quite like the one we've been pushed into today. In these trying times, we must remember that all stakeholders, teachers, administrators, students, and parents are all learning new skills in pedagogy. Please be patient with yourself and those around you. Also, it's important that we remember to focus on the core business of schools, relationships, and learning. Even with the addition of technology as a tool for learning, we should never take the heart of the classroom teacher out of the learning process. Ideally, designing effective distance learning programs requires planning and targeted professional development. However, in our current state of emergency, educators are caught in triage mode and are not in a position to craft an ideal online learning environment. The key is to maintain the indispensable human touch of teaching and learning during this period of social distancing. With school closures, our focus should not be on online or distance learning. It should be about maintaining continuous learning. Technology will be a crucial tool for learning when physical classrooms and schools are closed. Yet, teaching and learning is not about the technology. Try to focus in on the core business of schools, relationships, and learning. Let's get started on our 10 tips for teachers. Number 1, create a centralized online location. Teachers will need to establish a centralized location to load work on and that students are able to access remotely. Maintain a communication hub where you can update information for your students and parents. Use only district and/or school-approved platforms. This is important to ensure protection of student personal data. Some schools or teachers may already have a platform. It could be Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams or another online forum to communicate and distribute assignments and work to their students. Others may be using a learning management system, or LMS, like Canvas or Schoology. or an open education application like Seesaw. These are some of the fastest ways to get content to your students. Having a one-stop hub for communication will be essential, keeping everyone informed. Post weekly updates. Include the week's schedule of assignments, instructions for completing and submitting work, reminders, and teacher contact information and availability. Make your assignments clear. Help students find, access, and understand assignments. Make it easy for them to know what they have to do each week. Number 2, focus on the pedagogy. With school closures, our focus should not be on online and distance learning. It's about maintaining continuous learning. Technology will be a crucial tool for learning when the physical classrooms and schools are closed. Yet, teaching and learning is not about the technology. Try to focus on the core business of schools, relationships, and learning. Focus on the pedagogy, not the platform. The attributes of the physical classroom does not guarantee that a class is effective or engaging. The same goes for online platforms. Think about which of your classroom teaching strategies you previously had in your face-to-face classroom that translate well into the remote setting, and which don't. Keep the ones that students are already familiar with and will work well in this new environment. Think flipped classroom model. Send students resources such as texts, videos, podcasts, or articles to provide background knowledge that they can apply in subsequent learning activities. Select 1, maybe 2 educational websites like Khan Academy, CK12, BrainPop, or YouTube's Crash Course channel as digital partners to help in the delivery of new content. Take advantage of interactivity. Online resources or apps can bring active engagement to the learning process. Consider 1 or 2 digital tools such as Kahoot, Quizlet, Padlet, and Flipgrid. Most students are digital natives who already use remote technology for their own learning. Students desire interactive learning software, as well as interacting with their peers, so consider live video conferencing as well. Offer enrichment opportunities. Provide virtual enrichment opportunities for students such as puzzles, educational games, science experiments, and even art projects. Also consider opportunities to engage students to move and be active. Provide ongoing feedback. Feedback is important in every classroom, but when you're teaching online, it's another way to establish that personal connection with your students. Also, ask your students to give you feedback so you can learn and grow together, fine-tuning your own pedagogy. Number 3, be visible. If you and your students can connect live, do it! There are many free tools available to teachers to give live video lessons and record them for students to watch later. Personalize the classroom. Your continuous learning plan will run so much better if students can feel your presence as a teacher. Videos are such an important part of online learning and a great way to maintain relationships. Your familiar face will grab students' attention while building engagement and understanding. Throw in some fun and humor, such as daily jokes or quotes, music sound clips, or silly outfits. This is a great time to publicly praise students. Let students know you're thinking of them. Send them a note via email, your learning management system, or classroom messaging app. Share with your students how you're missing seeing them in person and how excited you will be to see them face to face again soon. Offer office hours. Block off 1 to 2 hours each day and make yourself available, either in a web conferencing room or by phone, to students or caregivers to answer questions and provide academic support. Make a point to call students who need additional support in their learning and provide personalized, targeted instruction over the phone or via web conferencing. Make a point to reach out to those quiet few. You know who they are. They seem to be doing well already. Try to connect with a handful of students one-on-one each day. Let them know that you miss their smiling faces too. Capturing kids' hearts is essential during a time like this. Remember, the core business of schools is relationships and learning. Number 4, limit cognitive load. Keep using what works. Are there digital tools that you've been using in your class all year, like Khan Academy, Prodigy Math, ReadWorks? Great! Keep using them. For new tools, pick what fits you and your students best. Remember, just because something sounds great for someone else's class doesn't make it the right fit for you. No one knows your class better than you. So try what works best for you and your students. Stay consistent. Don't switch to new tools every day or week. Adapting to remote learning is a challenge on so many levels, and rotating tools frequently adds to the stress and confusion for everyone. Finding what works and sticking with it helps students remain focused on learning new concepts, not new tools. Reduce the number of clicks. Consolidate the work as much as possible for students. The fewer clicks, the fewer distractions. Try not to send them to tons of websites, sorting through different databases, or on WebQuest. Simplify the lesson. Every time students have to go searching for something, there's a chance that they'll get distracted. Everyone's situation is unique and different. Don't assign group or pair work or work that relies on others. Collaborative environments such as Padlet or Flipgrid are awesome and fun. Please use these. But the stress of relying on others at this time is just one more unneeded worry. Number 5, set classroom norms. Set clear expectations and include students in the process. Keeping students motivated is hard, and doing it remotely is even harder. Have students set individual or class norms for working remotely, and then communicate these norms with students and families. When using a conferencing tool to convene students, set clear expectations around behavior. For example, consider sending an email to specify how students should ask questions and behave in this new virtual setting. Be clear. For example, you might say, our class will be meeting through an online conferencing system. We will adapt the same rules and norms as in the physical classroom, such as take notes, participate by asking and answering questions, wear classroom-ready clothes. For everyone's benefit, join the course in a quiet place. Turn on your video, mute your microphone unless you are speaking. Close browser tabs not required for participating in this class. This form of learning will be somewhat new to all of us, and success will depend on the same commitment we all brought to the physical classroom. This is a new environment for all, so it will be important that you define the behavior expectations, just like you did at the beginning of the school year. If you had a social contract in your classroom, lean on it and redefine what respect, trust, and honor means in this new environment. Number 6, keep things simple. Be realistic. Don't expect to cover everything you would in class. Choose key standards or concepts to focus on. Which skills are the most important for students to understand? Choose a handful. Set realistic expectations. Consider 1, maybe 2 lessons, 3 lessons a week for a student to work on, aligned to the essential standards for this time of year. Encourage students to master new skills by partnering with digital content. You personally don't have to deliver the lesson on new content, but borrow it from others like OER Commons, CK12, or Moby Max. Digital partnerships are like having an aide in the classroom, where each and every student gets their own learning space. You possibly already have some software products you were using in your classroom. These same software products can go home with your students. Teachers can continue to monitor their progress from the teacher dashboards from a distance. Also, check to see if the print textbooks you are currently using have an online component. Many publishers have text available online, along with interactive components and assessments. The familiarity of resources will help reduce teacher and student cognitive load. Number 7, communication is success. Help students stay on task. Communication is the key to success. Open the week with a class agenda on Monday. At the end of the week, summarize the learning on Friday. Keeping a schedule while teaching remotely is easier said than done. Stick to consistent times for working and connecting with your students. Schedules are not just for students. They provide consistency for teachers as well. Determine specific times to lesson plan, connect with your students, send out agendas, and summarize the learning. Please provide feedback. Qualitative feedback is essential to student growth, and oftentimes it can be forgotten when teaching remotely. Students are looking to you to let them know how they're doing and that their remote work has purpose. Think about how to motivate your students to want to come to your class. Here's a few ideas. Use a daily joke or a quote. Music sound clips or silly videos are awesome. Praise often. Make public announcements praising students. Look for ways to celebrate successes and include student quotes. The sweetest sound to the human ear is one's own name. Call out names often. Keep in touch with families. It's important to remember that parents and families are working remotely too, and that we're all stronger together. If possible, reach out to one or more families per week to share how their child is doing. Also, don't hesitate to let parents or guardians know you appreciate them for supporting their child's remote learning. Number 8, consider the needs of our most vulnerable learners. Students have a range of abilities, and not everyone will disclose. There are likely students in your class with learning or sensory disabilities that you may not know about. Some students you already know of their vulnerable learning situations. Others may be hidden. Embrace practices that will reach a wide variety of learners. Select accessible resources. Most vendor products are designed with accessibility in mind. Some online open educational resources, or OERs, may have substantial work done to improve accessibility. Thus, partnering with digital content providers is ideal. Did you know that some interactive simulations, such as PhET tools, are usable by the blind? Text is universal. Assistive technologies such as screen readers and magnifiers are nearly always designed to work with text. Even our non-readers could use a screen reader to help with comprehension. Also, our English language learners find translations tools such as an easy add-on Chrome extension. Hearing the text in their home language will be most beneficial. If you use images in your lessons, include descriptions. If you use videos, select videos with closed captioning or a transcript. YouTube allows viewers to suggest closed captioning improvements on many videos. If you create your own videos or run a live session with screen capturing tools, run those recordings through the YouTube Studio to capture the speech to text for closed captioning, or share a written transcript. Students may not feel comfortable revealing that they have special needs. Be an advocate and share with students the accessibility features, including translation tools. Number 9, be flexible within routines. In these COVID-19 emergency remote learning time, nobody expects business as usual. A positive attitude and a flexible mindset are key in making this transition as smooth as possible. Classes will not continue seamlessly, and lessons will definitely have to be reworked with the constraints of time and technology. Don't let the anxiety of the times overwhelm you or your students. Be flexible, and remember, students need caring adults in their lives during these troubled times. Our students' home life, now an educational setting with remote emergency learning, may be compounded by unemployment and possible illness. Thus, it becomes important to establish routines that bring some normalcy to our lives. Students and teachers are used to having a routine and schedule to follow each day. Remember all those bells? Consider creating a sample schedule for your students and families. It's important to share with them up front what a typical day is going to look like for them. To reduce cognitive load, keep things simple. Repeat patterns and locations of items. Have a simple, regular lesson plan that is predictable in behavior and in function, but not short on the learning. The key is to keep lessons simple and predictable. Try these 4 steps. 1, an opening, an opportunity for students to see and hear their teacher with a short pre-recorded video or live session. 2, introduce new content. This is a great place to partner with digital content providers. 3, practice and digest new knowledge. Capitalize on the use of skill-based applications. 4, check for understanding. This doesn't have to be graded, but it can help you with the data to provide individual feedback to students and families. Check out the previous COVID-19 webinar from the Department of Education titled Lesson Planning with Balance in Mind. Lessons should be built with lots of practice opportunities. Check out IXL or other applications like Quizlets and Kahoots that have a repository of activities made by teachers for practice and knowledge checks. After plenty of practice, create a quick knowledge check so that you have feedback on student progress. This can be done in a survey form. You can even ask students to provide you answers on worksheets or from exercises in a textbook so you can assess and provide them with meaningful, individualized feedback. As we transition, most importantly, be kind and forgiving of yourself and your students. Number 10, make lessons fun. After weeks of remote learning, a middle schooler in my life explained, "It's like they've taken all the fun out of learning and left us with all the boring stuff." Spoken like a true middle schooler, whose developmentally appropriate priority is socialization. Engaging meaningful and individually with students doesn't have to end as you move to remote learning. Try setting up virtual conferences, office hours, and one-to-one meetings to stay in front of your students. Students are looking for positive reinforcement, so it is essential that teachers provide feedback often. This can be done in comment sections of a shared document or by sending a personal email to an individual student. Design opportunities for hands-on learning. Consider the types of projects students can complete in their home, such as cooking with math or science. Also think about going outside the home in a garden or bird watching. How about exercising in the swimming pool or taking a walk? Think outside the box. Learning can happen anywhere. We just have to ask the right questions. Distance does not prohibit collaboration. There are shared files like documents or slides that allow students to collaborate and communicate around shared problems and ideas. Students will love making videos of themselves and sharing them on Flipgrid. It's a great way to stay connected and see their friends. Have fun, because if you do, your students may too. Don't be afraid to be silly. I'm sure you told stories in your classroom. Tell them now. Share silly jokes. Play with your students. Have a school's colored day and have them post a picture of them on a collaboration board like Padlet, or wear your school colors to the live virtual session. We all enjoy good smiles, especially in times like this. The sudden shift to online education will undoubtedly pose a challenge, but there's also an upside. Change provides intense and immediate professional growth. Discover new tools, resources, and approaches to nourish your practice. See your students in a new light and consider continuing to blend the learning when you return to your four-walled classroom. As we transition to remote learning, we must remember that all stakeholders, teachers, administrators, students, and parents, are learning new skills in pedagogy. Please be patient with yourself and those around you. Also, it's important that we remember to focus on the core business of schools, relationships and learning. Even with the addition of technology as a tool for learning, we should never take the heart of the classroom teacher out of the learning process. Continuous learning means that we will find times where we fail and we'll need to pick ourselves back up. We are all learners in this new arena. It's important to continue to try and try again. Listen to your students. Ask for feedback. This is all new to us. District leaders, school administrators, classroom teachers, students, and families. Most of all, be patient with yourself and those around you. Thank you for your time today. Your professional growth is important to us. Today's presentation will be available shortly on the Nevada Department of Education YouTube channel. Come back to it anytime, and please feel free to share the recording with your colleagues. On the Nevada Department of Education YouTube channel, you will find more resources, including other recorded webinars you may have missed. Again, thank you for joining us today. It has been a pleasure serving you.